Let's try some systems of equations word problems. The difference of two numbers is 3. Their sum is 27. Find the numbers. The challenge here is to set up your equations. Once you set up your two equations and two unknowns, you can solve these unknown numbers. Try part B. 3 nuts and 5 bolts weigh 16 ounces, whereas 2 nuts and 4 bolts weigh 12 ounces. How heavy is a single bolt? Can you set up the equations? For part A, we're talking about two different numbers. Let's call these numbers x and y. And the English is such that the difference of the two numbers is 3. So x minus y is 3. We'll suppose that x is the larger number, and we'll call this equation number 1. Now their sum is 27. X plus y is 27. The word is means equals. We'll call this equation number 2. Now we add equations 1 and 2 vertically. X plus x is 2x. Negative y, positive y, when you add them, they cancel out. 3 plus 27 is 30. So now we have some basic algebra. We simply divide both sides by 2, and so we have the larger number, x equals 15. Now we can simply substitute 15 into either equation to solve for y. In this example, we're going to substitute into equation number 2. So y is equals to 27 minus x. We throw the x over, making it negative x. 27 minus 15 is 12. So now we have x, and we also have y, which is 12. Now let's focus on the second problem involving nuts and bolts. 3 nuts and 5 bolts weigh 16 ounces. So our first equation is 3n plus 5b equals 16. N represents the weight of 1 nut, and b represents the weight of 1 bolt. Whereas 2 nuts and 4 bolts weigh 12 ounces. So 2n plus 4b equals 12. When you read this word problem, the biggest challenge is to set up your two equations and two unknowns. We label this equation 1, we label this equation 2. And one way of solving this problem is to use substitution, but here we use elimination. We find the LCM of 3 and 2 because we want to cancel out the n's. We multiply equation 1 by 2, so 3n becomes 6n, 5b becomes 10b, and we double 16 to become 32. We'll call this equation 1a. And we multiply equation 2 by 3, we triple it. 2n becomes 6n, 4b becomes 12b, and 12 becomes 36. We label this equation 2a. And now we subtract 2a minus 1a. 6n minus 6n disappears. 12b minus 10b becomes 2b. 36 minus 32 becomes 4. So therefore, dividing both sides by 2, b equals 2. And that's the question. How heavy is a single bolt? B equals 2 ounces. Let's try one more word problem. Your plane travels in one direction with an average velocity of 900 kilometers per hour. We're going pretty fast in a tailwind. So this means there's a wind that's making us go even a bit faster. On the return trip, the plane travels with an average velocity of 800 kilometers per hour, flying back into the same wind. It's an unknown wind speed that we have to solve. Find the speed of the wind. So the key here is to set up your main formulas. We know that this is a distance, velocity, time problem, so we'll use the equation distance equals velocity multiplied by time. However, keep in mind that there is a wind changing our velocity formula. The velocity plus wind is 900. So when we think of the number 900, it is indeed affected by the wind. On the way back, we talk about velocity minus wind. because your initial velocity might be over 800 kilometers per hour, but the wind slows you down, making you slower and makes you travel at a speed of 800 kilometers per hour. Now that we have our two equations and two unknowns, we simply use some algebra. We add these equations. V plus V is 2V. The W's cancel out. 900 plus 800 is 1700. And then we divide both sides by 2 to achieve the fact that the velocity is 850. Now that we know that the velocity is 850, we substitute it back into either equation. We'll just plug it in here, into equation number 1. 850 plus W is equals to 900. So therefore, W equals 900 minus 850, which is 50. There's a constant strong gust occurring at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour.